And thanks to those joining me live and to those joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here this Saturday morning. This is the 10th of February. All right. Man, this year's already going by fast. I mean, we're almost halfway through the second month of the year, just like that. All right. Like this year's going by quick. Check this out. So Lennox Lewis, who you could follow at Lennox Lewis on Twitter. Uh, he's active on Twitter. You guys could check him out. And he put a tweet out, the new blog on, quote, the road to undisputed, unquote, sizing up the current crop of heavyweights and the pathway to the next undisputed champion. And undisputed is on, he has a hashtag on there, right? And this will link you to lennoxlewis.com, which you can go to. You go to lennoxlewis.com. Visit the website, okay? So he has a blog called A View from the Champ, which you can check out, right? I like reading blogs from former athletes. I really do. It's a great perspective from people that actually did that craft, all right? And so let's talk about this, the road to undisputed, as he calls it. And several bulletin points here. The road to undisputed, the last man standing, a look at today's heavyweight division, can Anthony Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho, and title fight antics, right? So it's just some things, but that you guys can always check out. But let's just read the road to undisputed. Those are some other blogs that he had that you can check out. So sometimes we get caught up with social media that we forget the old internet. Remember back in the day when athletes had like their own website. You would go to their website instead of going to their Twitter, instead of this, right? This is a great blog here, and you go to lennoxlewis.com, and I also encourage you guys, if you find athletes that have their own blog, check them out, man. You'll learn a lot. Again, this is coming from the guys that actually did the craft. I'm going to read some of it, and then I'll skip some parts. I don't want to read the whole thing. You want to go to lennoxlewis.com to read the rest, all right? But let's go ahead and check this out really quick. All right, so the road to undisputed. So as the sun has set on the 14th anniversary of my retirement from professional boxing, I can't help but think about the upcoming heavyweight fights that will likely lead to the next undisputed heavyweight champion. It's almost hard to believe it's been 14 years since my retirement, and even harder to believe that I have remained the last undisputed heavyweight champion to this day. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion comparing some of the current champions to champions of my era and the eras before me, even to the point where certain fighters themselves have made comments about who they would defeat in past history. Like I said before, it's a useless exercise and it's unprovable. Leave that to the fans, pundits, and the so-called experts. Today's fighters first have to worry about their own era and becoming undisputed in their own time before they start comparing themselves to greats of the past. Even then, when all is said and done, history will decide where you fit in. Let's stop right there. Sounds like me and Lennox Lewis have the same line of thinking. All these fighters talking about, I could beat this guy, I could beat that guy, I could beat those guys, and this, that. I watched the film, I could beat them. And blah, blah, blah. Shut up. You haven't even beat everybody in your era. Like, who are you to talk about dudes that are already proven themselves? They're already legends. Want to criticize this legend, that legend. Like, do your era. Complete your era. I'm talking especially about a lot of these young fighters. And it's clear to me who Lennox Lewis is referring to here. Mainly a lot of the fans, but even the fighters themselves. He made that clear. He didn't, mix any words here. He made it clear that you have all these fighters talking about how they could beat this guy, beat that guy. Right? Well, how about you beat the guys in your era first, and then we can have a conversation. How about that? Very good point by Lennox Lewis. Let's read a little bit more. I might read the whole thing. Who knows? The division has evolved out now, and you have a far more competitive environment, than any time in the last decade. This is a great thing for the division and the entire sport of boxing. British boxing overall is booming right now, and it is perhaps to the heavyweights and pertains to the heavyweight division. Let me clearly state that all roads to quote unquote undisputed go through Britain. There are currently 4 recognized heavyweight champions, and as they begin to face each other and unify titles, we are well on our way to the next undisputed heavyweight champion, or so I would think. I believe there's a short list of heavyweights that will sort this out that include Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin, and maybe even a few lesser-known fighters that are yet to get their chance in the spotlight. I think this will be sorted out by the end of 2018 or in early 2019, and I think that the fight could likely be between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder to determine who the next undisputed heavyweight champion of the world will be. Let's stop there. So there you go. Lennox Lewis wants to see an undisputed heavyweight champion. That's what he wants to see. Lennox is retired. Lennox is a fan. Lennox loves the sweet science. He wants to see the best, and he especially loves the heavyweight division. And he wants to see it prosper. He wants to see greatness from these guys. He's not hating, right? If somebody comes out and says something stupid like Lennox is just hating, I swear to God, right? Like, sit down. Put the milk down, okay? And stop standing so close to the microwave when you heat your food, okay? If that's how you feel. Far from. He just wants to see greatness from these guys. That's all. He wants to see great. It'll benefit boxing. Boxing, I don't believe in trickle-down economics in the economy, but I believe in trickle-down in boxing. Like, if the heavyweight division is prosperous, that trickles down to the rest of the sport. I do believe that. I'm not saying it's absolutely necessary, but it only benefits the sport when there's a prosperous heavyweight division. And it benefits it even more when there's a undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Let's read a little more. When I think Joshua, I believe that he's a better and more well-rounded tactician in the ring than Wilder. He has better ring generalship and has also faced better competition than Wilder has. So my natural inclination would give Joshua the advantage in a head-to-head matchup. The one thing that concerns me about AJ is his size and mobility, because he has so much muscle mass that it becomes a lot to carry into later rounds of fights. He's held up well so far, but we have seen the results of what can happen when he expends too much energy in a short period of time late in a fight. This will probably be his biggest weakness that I see, but great conditioning and pacing can help overcome this. For Wilder, I believe he has the best body type for the heavyweight division today. He shows up in a lean, in shape, and ready to go every time. His body mass is lean, yet he carries a lot of power. He's not carrying so much muscle mass or fat, and he doesn't appear to become gassed going into any round. He has a very high energy level and great conditioning. This will serve him well in a matchup with Anthony Joshua. However, some of his weaknesses are in the lack of technique and fundamentals that can be exploited by a very good boxer. He's gone over some hurdles, but he hasn't really been tested the way Joshua has or stepped up the same level of competition. I think his power has been the mainstay of his career. And it has also built him out in some fights where his boxing skills were not getting the job done. If he were to learn how to straighten his right hands after his jab, he would be so much harder to deal with. The quickest way from one point to another is a straight line, and he needs to learn this before somebody proves it to him. My only other criticism of Deontay is that he thinks he gets hit too much. I apologize. That I think he gets hit too much, especially from shorter guys that really shouldn't be able to score that much if he fights them from the outside. Going into a fight with Luis Ortiz, who has excellent in-fighting skills, he can hurt you with either hand. It will be interesting to see how Wilder deals with Ortiz. Right? So, look, he goes over a lot more stuff, and I don't want to read the whole thing because it is his blog, and it's only fair that if you want the rest of it, that you go to lennoxlewis.com and get it there, right? You could also, if you want the direct link, you go to his Twitter handle at Lennox Lewis, and he has it there. All right. Let me give you my thoughts here. So, and look, this is not me reading Lennox's article and then Monday Morning Quarterback and say, oh yeah, look, I totally have the same opinion as Lennox, but I swear to God, like this is what I've been like. Almost everything he's saying is what I've been echoing here on YouTube. This is what I've been saying. I've been saying I want to see the fight. I've been saying, yes, Joshua has a better resume. I've been saying, a lot of these things. I've mentioned the muscle mass. I've also mentioned the lack of fundamentals for Wilder. Like, this is not like, I'm just saying this is what I have it on record. My videos are up. Like, it's not something I'm just making up, right? So this is why I like to read like blogs from like athletes and especially like boxers and stuff like that and get their insight, because you learn a lot. You learn a lot when you get into the mentality of fighters. Like if Lennox would have said the complete opposite, like I'm not saying I would do a 180, but I would maybe begin to question my stance on a lot of this stuff, right? But now that Lennox is basically echoing many of the things I was saying, I gotta be honest. It makes me feel even better about my position on a lot of these things. I'm not here to apologize because I want to see an undisputed heavyweight champion. I'm not here to debate with anyone on who deserves what. And notice how Lennox Lewis in this article, and if you read it, you'll see, he doesn't start talking about who deserves what. He doesn't talk about who's manager and who's promoter and this, that, and the third. Lennox Lewis doesn't care, and you as a fan shouldn't care either. You should want to see the fight, and he's doing his part and saying, I want to see an undisputed champion. But that's what he wants to see. And us as fans, we have to do the same thing. Ask for that undisputed championship. Demand as a fan, because demand, okay, is the name of the game. We're not here to play devil's advocate and give and add to the excuses for fighters. No. I want to see the best fight the best. I want to see an undisputed champion. There's only one way we're going to know who's better between Deontay Wilder and Joshua. There's only one way. Lennox Lewis breaks it down too. He tells us who he thinks would win. He thinks Joshua more than likely will come out on top, but he wants to see it. He knows that Joshua has to prove it. He has to do it in the ring. You don't prove it outside of the ring. You don't like put out your resume and prove it that way. No. You do it in the ring. It is time. It is time for an undisputed champion. You notice he didn't start talking about the sanctioning bodies and start making excuses. And no, he said, I want to see an undisputed champion. You can read the rest of his article at lennoxlewis.com. I mean, it's only Lennox Lewis, like, you know. So there you go. So if you want to say, well, fuck D-Style, I don't give a fuck about D-Style's opinion. If you know what you're talking about, you don't listen to D-Style. D-Style doesn't understand. Okay, fine. D-Style doesn't understand. Or go listen to Lennox Lewis. Okay? Go listen to what Lennox Lewis has to say. Don't listen to me. Go listen to Lennox. I believe Wilder will beat Ortiz. I believe Joshua will beat Parker. I think that's a tough fight, but I think he beats Parker. There's some other guys in the way, but the destination that boxing fans should be demanding. Boxing fans are the only reason the sport even exists, for those that don't understand the process, okay? No fans, no reason to fight. No fans, no money. So yes, we can demand things. Is that too much to ask? I want to see the best fight the best. Like I didn't know that was like a big demand. Okay. So I like the article, and you guys could check that out. All right, go check it out. Let's see if I could pull up the chat really quick. I'm not going to be on too long. All right, and I'm only going to address things that have to do with this current subject. Okay, guys, and this is I'm just being honest. There's no need to address things outside of the, you know, purpose of the video. Okay, but let's see if I can pull this up. If not, I'll just end the video. If it doesn't pull up, it is what it is. What's up, Haplotype? Haplotype saying what's up. That's all I gotta say. For you guys who'll catch this on archive, don't forget to thumbs up the video, leave a comment, tell me what you think. And again, check out the article. Go to lennoxlewis.com. This is DStyleBoxing signing out. Peace.